Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of AI and Oats, which is my daily show where I answer some AI questions and normally eat a bowl of porridge, but unfortunately I do not have any porridge today. So very quickly, before we get into it, who am I? Well, my name is Alistair. Welcome if you're new to the channel, which you probably are. And this is my YouTube channel where I teach how to use Claude Code and Codex for knowledge work and business use cases, but I also run an AI consulting and training company called Dux. And if you'd like us to work with your business directly to see how AI could fit in and how you could implement it, or if you'd like me then to help you set up your own AI operating system in Claude Code and Codex, please get in touch through the link in the description below. And I also have a school community where I go into even more detail than I do on this channel and share kind of all my Claude Code and Codex systems and skills and that sort of thing. So the link for that is also in the description below if you're interested. But now that the preliminaries are out of the way, let's dive into the questions. So essentially the way this works is during the day, Codex goes out and finds questions from various forums on the web related to AI and that sort of thing, or it finds interesting news articles relating to AI, and then it puts them into this kind of research board for me, and then I come and answer the questions, and usually just end up rambling a fair bit about AI. And in an ideal world we would also have like questions in the comments on our YouTube channel to answer, but currently we do not have enough people for that to work. So if you did leave a comment, I would answer it, definitely. So there you go, some incentive for you. But let's get into the questions. Luna on extra high or max? Right. So this is about within Codex, people using Sol with Luna subagents for coding. And then I guess the question is what effort level to use for the subagents. And it looks like this is suggesting that you have, so Sol, what you always want, I think, with subagents or any kind of, the best setup is always going to have the most intelligent model, like orchestrating at the beginning and end, I find. So orchestrate it at the start and plan what different subagents do, and then check what they do at the end is usually what I found to be the best. So in that case, that would be having Sol initially orchestrate, I guess, Luna in this case, subagents, and then I don't know. I mean, I think the difference between extra high or max is not going to be huge necessarily. So certainly, like this is suggesting, I don't think you would need max for repetitive code or anything like that. Whether you have max for business logic, I don't know, possibly. I do think that if you're doing something more kind of strategy based, you do want a more intelligent model. So I don't even know if you might want to go up from Luna for something like that. I mean, certainly if I want proper strategizing done, I would use something like Sol or Fable 5 or, well, Opus 5 now, if I'm in Claude Code. So I don't know, I don't think this matters too much necessarily whether you do choose extra high or max, but I think it does introduce a good kind of, opportunity to revisit the idea of the importance of understanding, like having a more intelligent model orchestrate cheaper models as a way to be more efficient with token costs and that sort of thing, because you don't need like everything to be done by Sol when you can have Sol orchestrate cheaper models. So that's, I guess, slightly off topic, but it's still an opportunity just to touch on what I find a useful principle when thinking about, managing tokens. Where is rewind in Codex? I think you can rewind in Codex, pretty much the same way. Certainly, if this is talking about rewind in terms of just within the chat in Codex, I'm pretty sure you can just go back like you can in Claude Code. Whether this is talking about something different, maybe I'm missing something. Actually, now that I've come to look at it within Codex itself, I do not see rewind buttons. I think if you do like edit a thing though, you can kind of rewind if you actually edit a message, and then it looks like you can also undo anything in like the edited files. So I guess, not that I often do that, so I guess it kind of does exist, but maybe I was a little bit wrong, because within Claude Code it's fairly simple to rewind. In the sense that you just press like the little rewind button or do /rewind. It's my understanding that certainly if you're trying to save on token costs, which I guess has been a theme so far based on the first two questions, is that like rewinding where possible is better than just telling something to do it again and again. I know that Anthropic have said that themselves, that like you are better off rewinding to a previous message rather than going back, and because I think that was when during a period where it felt like everyone was hitting anthropic rate limits really fast, which I don't feel is happening as much now. Although maybe it still is. I mean, I had Claude Code running overnight, all night basically. Again, just on essentially pointless projects of like seeing whether Opus 5 could make a version of GTA 5, and I haven't checked the results yet, so we'll see what happens. I stopped it well before it finished because it did use up, like, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30% of my weekly tokens. So yeah, no, I guess, how did I end up talking about that? Yeah, I guess rewinding is one way in terms of token management. You're better off rewinding to stuff if it hasn't worked the way you wanted than constantly going back and forth, because that will save you tokens. That has slightly gone off topic, but I think you can rewind in Codex if you just press the like little edit message button and then send it again. Or it looks like when it shows you which files are edited, you can undo those. Right, I still don't understand why AI agents need skills. Well, I guess the argument here presented is just use Markdown docs instead. I mean, in essence, I feel like a skill is mostly a Markdown file. I mean, you basically have like a SKILL.md for each one. I guess theoretically you could just have a well-organized AGENTS.md that would point you at like the relevant Markdown files, but that's almost just what a skill is anyway. I feel like the way the harnesses of Codex and Claude Code are set up, having a skill allows you to use it as a slash command, so that's useful if you really want to make sure the skill actually triggers, and if you really want to make sure it uses that skill specifically. And also, I think just generally the way the harnesses are set up, it's probably going to detect skills more easily, even if you don't call them explicitly, just based on kind of, you know, the front matter of the skill that describes when it should be used. I feel like the way Claude Code and Codex are set up probably would identify skills and use them more reliably than just reading through its agents.md, especially because, I mean, I know for like a Claude.md you want to keep it fairly lean where possible, so if you start like piping in, even if it's just a bunch of file references, you know, all your different skills within there, you are going to take up space unnecessarily when there's already a sort of skills architecture to use within Claude Code. And I don't know for a fact whether Codex like you to have a similarly sort of lean agents.md, but I would imagine they, you know, it probably makes sense. So I don't think it's like a fundamentally wrong idea that you could get away without skills. I think you probably could get away without skills. But I think also, if you ever need to share skills, it's kind of easier to share skills, you know, within, like, someone can just download a skill for Claude or for Codex. So if you have to share it across a team or something like that, that's more useful than someone having to make an edit to their agents.md and then download all the relevant Markdown files and that sort of thing. So I guess what I'm saying is it's probably not a necessity to have skills, but I feel like they just offer a simpler solution to the issue that agents.md with well-organized Markdown files would solve. And since they're relatively easy to set up, or like really easy to set up, just tell Claude Code or Codex that you want to turn what you just did into a skill, or that you want to make a skill to do X or Y. I don't see the reason not to use skills unless I'm missing something, but I don't think I am. When did we shift from agentic loops to graphs? I don't know, to be honest. I've heard graph engineering mentioned, you know, a little bit in passing, but I'm not sure I'm an expert in it myself. I still feel very much like loops have been a big improvement in terms of quality of output. Just getting something to loop over it and have a sub-agent review it really does seem to improve the output and improve the quality of what Claude Code and Codex are doing. I haven't explored graph engineering yet myself, really. So I'm not sure if it's much of a thing or not. I won't necessarily comment, but I will check it out and I guess come back with some thoughts. Right, this is a tweet from Matt Schumer by the looks of things, and I guess if you've watched episodes of this series so far, you probably think I'm obsessed with Matt Schumer, which I'm not, but I do like him and his stuff. I think it's interesting. I think this is in reference to the fact that OpenAI said that OpenAI kind of, you know, disclosed that, I think they're calling it GPT, I don't know if it's 6 or like 5.7 or what, but Astra, some model, has solved like 10 extremely long-standing maths puzzles. I think that's what this is about. Or maths problems that hadn't been solved for ages. Is it this one? Yes, it is. And yeah, I do think that like the progress that AI and these models has been making in maths and science has been very impressive, and is going to be like massively impressive in the next, well, I was going to say next few years, but I think next few months even. It feels like they're very well disposed for those fields so far. Certainly talking to my dad, who's a mathematician, I know that he has managed to start publishing loads and loads more papers since using, recently stuff like Fable 5 and that sort of thing. And I know that he, in particular, Fable 5 has been immensely impressed with its intelligence for solving maths. And so I do think that generally kind of for science, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, but what does this mean for the future of energy efficiency if we can come up with much better research in that field and much better solutions using AI tools and that sort of thing. So I do think for scientific progression and like medical progression, these current and especially what the new models can do seems amazing. So that is something to look forward to, I think, amongst various thoughts around, amongst various sentiments of AI doom, perhaps around, what does it mean for the labour market and that sort of thing. I think what does it mean for science and what does it mean for maths is an area in which to be optimistic. Right, so that's kind of going to wrap it up for today. Bit of a shorter episode today. Not sure there were any particularly amazing takes in there, so sorry, but if you did sit through the whole thing and watch it, thanks very much. Feel free to subscribe, and then I'll just mention again, if you would like to work with me one-on-one to see how your business can actually benefit from AI, and then help you implement those changes, please do get in touch through the link in the description. Or if you'd like to join our school community, again, please check out the link in the description. But yeah, I think that'll be it for today, so thanks very much for watching, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow.